at it and see if your filter needs to be changed. If the filter's dirty, it goes into the bypass mode. They can still use it, but it's just going to bypass the filters. There is in the manual that we pulled up on the computer in the end, it tells you when those filters need to be changed. It's usually annually. Okay. In the center is where you fill the oil for the stabilizers and the ladder. And at the far end is where you fill the power steering fluid for that tiller cap back there. So that's all right up on this shelf right here. Okay. This is the bad tank, the DEF tank, the urea tank. Okay. That 4.5 gallon. So, this is a symbol you get when you're low on DEF. That's what it's going to look like up on your dashboard. It's got that fart cloud looking thing to it. The wave's underneath it. That means it's got no DEF in it. This hole is smaller than that hole. You would think it'd be the other way around. It's not. So it is possible to pour this fluid into that tank. It's not possible. Well, it is possible because the nozzle's only that big. Pour it in this tank too. If they do that, that's not so bad. That can be fixed. That one's the big dollar item when they pour it the other way. Okay. All right. This is a lockout lever. This is something you don't have on your other truck. What this does is it takes the fluid from the bottom of the truck and it transfers it to the top of the truck. It also, as long as the stabilizers are on the ground, they have to be on the ground before we'll do that. It also makes this whole body rigid. It locks out these cylinders that are on the bottom so that when they're using the ladder, this is all one solid piece. Okay? So if I have it in this position, I can run my stabilizers. If I pull it this way, I cannot run my stabilizers. So they have no ability to pick their stabilizers up unless they use an overlay. They put a lock on this side because the driver has to make sure that he unlocks it before he drives away. There is a light in the cab. If you don't unlock it before you drive away, and you go over a railroad track and you go up, this won't come back down.
Copy. Post
Pick the wheels
8
off
and call S+3.
Stay like that. Then all you have is rear brakes, because remember you have your brake off, so you don't have any front brakes. If that happens, lock up your front brakes, turn on your aerial masters, and you got at least your front brakes back. Okay. What they're going to forget to do and what they're going to call you about is they got up to the top of the truck but they couldn't make the aerial work. Forgot to throw the lever in the bottom. Because if you're up there and the lever's back here, you're not going to get your fluid to the top of the truck. It happens all the time. I did it twice myself yesterday. Alzheimer's. Okay. I've got 2 arrows on my deck which they didn't have before. And there's a center arrow. As long as they're operating this and they stay between the 2 arrows, they're safe. If they're going to go outside of the arrows, what they need to remember is that the cab of the truck is this way and the body is this way, and the aerial goes on the other side. So they have all that counterweight behind them. If the cab is this way, the body's this way, and they try to put the arrow in the middle, they're going to tip over. Because all the weight's on one side of the truck. So either stay within the arrows or go opposite side of where the body and the cab is. Okay. Water intake on both sides looks exactly the same on either side. If you get to 220 psi here, there's a relief valve up in there. It's going to open up at 220. It's going to start dripping water. At 250, it'll be fully dumping. You'll see water coming down through here. That's to keep the seals in the waterway from blowing. Too much pressure. They can stop their water right here on both sides. So if they got water coming in on that side and this side, they can just shut this valve. That stops the water, because that pumper could be 1,000 feet down the road and they have no control otherwise. Or they can gate it. They can make it partway open or halfway open so they can control their water flow somewhat. At 1,000 gallons a minute or less, they can do anything they want with this ladder. They can even retract it while flowing. The old trucks, they never wanted you to retract while flowing because it was hard on the seals. This one at 1,000 or less, you can still do that. Okay. This is their drain for their waterway. There's one on the other side. As long as it's parallel with the pipe, it's open. Now it's closed. Okay? So, go there. This is their fuel tank. Diesel fuel only, 65 gallons. That's it. All right. There's only one on one side, not 2. They have a grade and slope indicator here that tells them, how the angle of their truck is side to side. The BBs have to be in the green to get 100% use of the load chart off this truck. So if they're going to run this truck and they want to be the most stable they can, BB in the green, BB in the green, same as on the other side. If either of the BBs touch the yellow, they have to cut the weight in the ladder in half. Okay? If either of the BBs touch the red, it's a no-go. They got to reposition the truck. They're allowed 500 pounds on this tip, whether they're flowing water or not, from -8 all the way to the top. When they get up there at 65 and 75, they can have 4,500 pounds on this ladder. Okay? Because 1,000 on each section and then 500 on the egress, the red part that's up there. So we can hold a lot of weight. They never want to set it on a rooftop or the ground though, because then you're backbending. When you backbend it, you put cracks along all the latticings that go up and down. When the separate company that comes out to check these trucks, like UL or whoever you get, comes to check it, they're going to put really fine iron dust on this truck. The problem is they don't clean it off, and then it starts to rust. Right? But they energize it. Wherever it sticks, there's a crack. Too many cracks, we'd have to pull the ladder back off the truck. Yeah, I would suggest after they come out, probably take it to a wash, clean it off right away, because it will rust. That fine powder turns to rust instantly. Okay. This is the normal way they run this truck. On both sides of the truck, there's the same panel, so they can run this stabilizer from that side or that stabilizer from this side. There is a high idle switch. All the high idle does for them is give them more fluid to do multiple functions. It really does not increase the speed at all. Sounds like it does, but this gives you more fluid. The pump for that is underneath there. And on that pump that's under there, I'd have to look. Let's see what style it is. It's one of two styles. It's either the old style where you have a small pressure knob and a big bias knob. They're right next to each other. The small pressure knob will take a 7/16 inch wrench to adjust it and a 1/2 inch wrench to crack the jam nut. The bias will take 11/16 to crack to adjust it and a 3/4 inch to crack the jam nut. Bias pressure on here should be about 425. Operating pressure on here needs to be 3,000, 3,050. Okay, that's what the pump runs at. To check that, you hop up there and you pull the full retract. That'll give you what the pump pressure is. If you let it settle out, that's what your bias pressure will be. That's the circulating pressure. That bias is what controls your flow. Okay, that's what gives you how much fluid you're going to get. Pressure is just pressure. So, they can look at their pressures. If it's not coming up to 3,000 psi, they're not going to get the speed that it's designed to do. The speed is coming out of the cradle, fully elevated, fully extended, 90 degrees off the side in under 1 minute 20 seconds. It has to be able to do that for an FPA. Okay. It can go faster, it just cannot go slower. Now, that's opposite of tip controls. They can only go so fast. They can go as slow as they want. They can only go so fast though, because that's more critical up there of how fast they're moving, because you're close in proximity to buildings and stuff. So they want them to go slow. 10% of what the actual controls are. Okay. Here is your override. Other than this one right here. This emergency hydraulic power unit is a small motor you can run for 30 minutes with a 30-minute cool down. When I tilt that cab, you'll see it. It's right there. It's a starter motor, but a little beefier. Okay? You can run it for 30 minutes, 30-minute cool down. It takes 9 minutes to pack this truck. So you got plenty of time. It runs at 2,500 psi versus 3,050. So it's going to be slower. And they're probably going to run one function at a time, not multiple, because it doesn't increase anything. So they're going to put it away with that. They still got light here. We can use this. They have no lights here. They have to go into here. This is a log splitter in a sense. Okay, it's just a pure hydraulic valve. That shaft is turning down there. They have hydraulics. You have to be the electricity. So I have a knob here and a knob here, knob here, knob here. This one's for aerial, up and down and in and out only. Okay? This one sends the fluid to my stabilizer valves. If I pull that knob out and I push on the bottom or top of these valves, it'll do what it says right here. And yes, it will drag it right across the ground. Okay? So they have to go up before they go in. That's pure hydraulics. If they don't want to run it the pure hydraulic way, they have this other switch back here. I'll turn on my battery switch so you can see what that does. That is battery direct. That bypasses everything. is on, and just the battery's on, once a week they need to come out here and touch this. Okay, hear it? What that did was cycle the pump. Remember the old primer motors that were electric? Nobody ever pulled the primer motor? 6 months from now, that isn't going to run. Because all those brushes are going to corrode to the shaft of the motor. You'll be under there with a hammer banging on that thing, trying to get it to spin again. If they come out here and touch this once a week, like that, spin it, doesn't matter if they go up or down, you turn the motor. So that next week if I do it, turn the motor. They don't get a chance to corrode to the shaft of the motor. So it will always work for them the way it should. Okay? Now if I had to run this out, and I didn't want to use these, the quickest way to run this truck, pack it up for anybody, just to go to this, back to this panel. That gives me my power back because it's going directly to the battery of the truck. It bypasses all wiring in this truck and goes right to the battery. So if I don't know what's wrong with my truck and I need to get it out of here, they can hold the switch up to give fluid to the guy up there to run the aerial, or they can hold it down to run their stabilizers in. Get it out of there, figure out what's wrong with it when it gets here. Okay? Get another truck in, fight the fire the way you need to. They're not going to set the truck up on a backup because you don't know what else is going to go wrong with it. If this isn't working now, what else is, you could be up there and something else happened. So, pack it up, get it out of there. Okay? When the truck is running, this is just a matter so they have leverage, because there's 3,050 pounds of pressure here. They have leverage, they can go underneath here and push on these little tabs that are in here, hold this out and run it. Okay? That's all this does. You could try using your finger, but it is hard. It works, but it's hard. I would rather go right to the last resort, pack it up, get it out of there. It's just the quickest way to do it. Okay? But there is 4 ways to run it. There's the normal way. Switches are lit up. Everything's working fine. Then there's the emergency hydraulics through safety wiring, so you still have all your safeties. Then you get into here is pure hydraulics. And the last resort is battery backup. Okay? So there is 4 ways to run the truck. And all of our trucks have the same system on them. So if you ever got another one that had a ladder, it would be exactly the same as this one. It's just the way they look. Okay. Tells you what you need to do right there in order to run them. This is not on the other side of the truck. It's only on this side of the truck. Alright. That's what you have there. You'll know if you have electricity, because this light will be lit, this one will be lit, this one will be lit, the jack flashes will be lit, thing in here will be lit. If you blow an aerial master fuse, they're not going to be lit. And then you have no electricity for that. Those pads that come with the truck, they reduce that footprint of that stabilizer from 200 psi down to 75 psi. So it disperses the weight. They're like a Kevlar plastic. They're not bulletproof. They clip them on there, and it doesn't matter how they clip them on there. It just disperses that weight out. Because, to be honest, how thick is this? We don't know. Florida, it could be a pothole underneath there. So we got to disperse the weight. They're going to use anything but those pads. They got to make sure that it doesn't give, because inches down here mean feet when you're up on that ladder. So if it gives 2 inches here, that's 2 to 3 feet up there. That's a pucker factor right there. Okay? I'm going to start the truck up. I'll run that out. I want to show you the switches that are involved with these, because it's really important that they know what the switches do, because the switches are lit. So if one of these bulbs are burnt out, they can just look at the switch. If the switch is still lit, they can still use it. Okay? And it's important that they know what switches are which, so that they can tell you, hey, my planted proc switch is no good, my fully extended switch is no good, or my fully stow switch is no good. And they can call you up and give you a description of what's not happening, so that you can order the switch and get a new one in. These switches are a lot better than they used to be. When I started 16 years ago, they were blue, and they were subject to heat and cool. At around 10 degrees, they'd stop working. They were real sluggish. And then when you get up too hot, they didn't work either. Now they work, basically, I've had them up 23 below, they work fine. So,